All right, here's the second update of the tank, the 10-gallon soon-to-be reef tank, just salt water for now. So some things, issues I had in the first that I didn't mention in the first video that I think will probably happen to some people, a lot probably of new people, um, but something that happened to me. I know three things mainly. First, the water I was using. So my local fish store told me they use tap water and they just condition it and it's fine. Now I know that works for some people, but with all the research I'm doing and asking questions on Reddit and Reef to Reef, they say it's a big no-no. So I was, kind of caught off guard. I didn't use tap water. I used like a water mill that we have that claims they do reverse osmosis and all these cleanings. And the thing that freaked me out though was they say they get an alert whenever their water reaches 50, a total dissolved solid TDS of 50. And so I was like, no, I need, you want 0. So although I started the tank with about 8 gallons because of the rock work and things like that, with that water, my other buckets that I have filled ready, I got rid of and I replaced it with another fish stores. They do RO water. They also do RODI water, which I will be transitioning to the next time I need the buckets filled. So RO water was used in my water change, but we'll talk about all that stuff. Okay, first problem, the water, right? Big problem. So I believe that was the cause of my diatoms in the beginning in the first video. I think I mentioned that, but I think that was the problem. Now switching over to the regular RO water, that kind of went away. Now it's got algae growing, which is okay, normal. But other than that, also I had a big salinity issue, which, okay, so I have this refractometer, right? Same one everyone gets, basically. Now the manual says that it comes to you calibrated already. I kind of took that for, I took that literally, I guess, and I was like, okay, I don't have to calibrate. Cool. I don't even know what that means, right? So I was still new when I opened it up about 3 weeks ago. So I did my salt water in the mix with a wave maker, a different one that I have for the buckets for mixing salt, and I mixed it and it was super low. So I adjusted using that website I linked in the first video. I realized I cut that clip out, but that was that was what I did in the first video. I linked it in the first video. So I fixed it, raised the salinity to 1.024 or 0.25, and then I thought it was cool. I kept the tank at 1.025, air quotes, for until about 5 days ago, I think. Whatever it was, a couple days before I got that. Okay, so I'll talk about that. But when I realized that it hadn't been calibrated, and I go and calibrate it using RO water, which I know it's not perfect, but the way I realized it was off was I took my water to get tested to see if it was cycled at my local fish store, and they said, whoa, your salinity is way too high. And I thought, what? I've been checking with the refractometer. Sure enough, I go test the RO water and it's showing negative, below the line, below 0. So I calibrate for that to be 0, and then of course this shows at 1.028, 1.029, which is what my fish store told me it was. So I thought, wow, okay, I've been having this super high salt uncycled tank, and the bristleworms and little tiny snails, which I have right here. One's hiding right there, he's eating or something. They've been surviving in that, so that's pretty cool that they're that hardy. But so I had to do something, right? I couldn't do a water change and put more salt water in because I wouldn't really fix it unless I really lowered the dose, which I wouldn't even know how to do with those conversions. Well, I could, but it would take some figuring out. What I ended up doing is just kind of taking water out little by little and adding RO water until I got the 1.025 with the water level up to the rim over here, the outside rim. Right now I need to top off a little bit. I need to top that off just a tiny bit, but that's what I did. It seemed to work. The salinity's been perfectly fine ever since then, and my hitchhiker inverts, the small tiny ones, and some bristleworms. I have actually a bristleworm in every section. I just saw them before I came over here. They were fine. So I got the water figured out. I did all that. Now, when I didn't know or didn't see at all until the day I changed all that water was all these, and you can kind of see them on the camera a little bit. See if you can focus right there. You can kind of see some on the glass and they're all floating around, of course, too. They're easier to see on this side, I think, right here with the black. Yep, there they are. A ton of copepods or pods all over the tank. When you look really closely, you can see them on the rocks. You can see them all over the glass. When I have a pellet that gets stuck in the corners or something up top, they're all over the pellet. So a lot of pods, which is a good sign. So I thought, you know what, I think it's time. And in the meantime, before that, I bought some tests. And I was like, I thought the tank might be cycled already. Now I use these tests. I know people on Reddit gave me a lot of kind words about those tests, but I also have this and more Saliforts coming in, and then I'll eventually upgrade to the Hannah checkers. But I'm going to be using the nitrate test from here, the alkalinity and the calcium. I will not be using the nitrite test. No, I'm sorry. I won't be using the phosphate test from here. Only using the Salifort, ammonia test from Salifort, and then I have a pH one coming as well. I will be using calcium here, alkalinity, and nitrates, which I've done already, and I'll explain that. Now, here are my readings from my first testing I did on the 14th. Salinity 1.0255. It was slightly higher than 1.025. It wasn't quite 1.026, but it was closer to this number. Ammonia came out to flat 0. Nitrates, I wasn't able to tell based on the color on the chart whether it was 0 or 5, but it was closer to 0, but it wasn't 0. So that's why I put a dash. So it's low, which can be a problem later. So I need to make sure, well, there's no fish in here, so that could be the issue. Alkalinity is okay, but it's in the low end of okay, and phosphates was on the low end as well. Obviously, also, when I had the dash, it means I couldn't tell between the two readings, and this was the one it was closer to. Temp, 77, 78 throughout each day. So those are okay. I think they're pretty good. If you think they're not, please let me know. But I'm not testing for calcium right now because I don't have corals. So once I start to get some corals, well, before I get corals, I'll test that and make sure I'm okay. I did my first water change yesterday. After a few hours after I tested for these, I went and did a 10% water change, which is for a 10-gallon tank, 1 gallon. And that went pretty well. Just followed some YouTube video on how to use the siphon. Worked perfectly fine. What I did do also a couple days ago is I added some inverts. Now, why would I add inverts when I don't have fish? How are they going to clean up anything? There's another hermit crab back there, and another Astrea snail over there. The snails have been tearing up the algae in here. Even though there's still some, there was more. And a lot on this rock, and he totally cleaned this fuzzy algae off this rock. It was covering this whole rock. The crab's kind of hiding there. This one's been doing the most work. I named him Domino because... Actually, no, I named the hermit crab Domino. My daughter's going to name the rest of them. But, yeah, I added those guys. I was advised to do that as like a mini test to see if I'm actually cycled and ready to go. The snails have been doing great. I know they're very hardy. The hermit crabs were a little bit more mobile at first, but they've been hiding a lot recently. They're alive. I see them moving. You can kind of see his legs moving, and they kind of pick up the rock and stuff like that. But they kind of just in the same spots most of the day. I don't know if they're in shock or something's wrong with the water for them. Tests seem to be okay, but maybe they're just scared. But what I do notice is that the pellets, like this one over here, and there's a couple more of the tank for my ghost feeding. Well, not ghost feeding anymore because it's animals, but they pick those up in the middle of the night. So I'll expect those pellets all to be gone by tomorrow. But yeah, that's basically the big updates for here. Talked some issues I had that are newbie issues, really. Testing I added, well, not added, I started doing regular testing, and I have more tests coming in, and I added some inverts. Now I have some also big news for the next update. You are probably going to see some clownfish. When I picked these inverts, I was told the fish store is going to get some new clowns. I kind of wanted some snowflake clowns they had there, but they're reserved, so I'm actually going out of town soon, well, by the time you see this video, I'm probably back already. But I wasn't gonna, get the fish, then go out of town. So I'm gonna get them, reserve them, put them on hold, come back, and then you pick them up. So that's the plan. You're most likely gonna see some new fish coming in next week, next update. And yeah, so here's a little just overview of the tank. Everything's working okay. This wave maker did shut off randomly. I just kind of swished it around in the water, and it would turn back on. It was, well, I unplugged it, then did that, turned it back on. So it's probably just dirty. Pump's been, filter's been doing good. Heater's been doing good. Light's been doing good too. So all's good so far. We're about gonna be 4 weeks in a couple days. And also I have a hopefully some green star pollock coming in pretty soon. We'll see about that. Maybe 2 updates from now. But that's it. I know it's kind of lengthy, a lot of talking. There'll be more stuff going on when there's fish in here. So that's basically it. Those of you who saw the first video, thank you for commenting, liking, all that kind of stuff. It really helps me out. It makes me, it doesn't really do much for me right now. I don't get paid, but I do like it. I do enjoy it, and I enjoy the advice and the kind words that I have so far. So that's pretty cool. See you guys next time, hopefully with some new clowns.